What is up, gamers? It is Will777JP, and we are back with another one. And today, I want to give you guys my first impressions on Donkey Kong Bananza, and I also want to answer a question that some people have asked. I've asked myself this all the time. Is the game worth $70, right? So we're going to get into it and go a little bit about my thoughts on Donkey Kong Bonanza as a non-Nintendo gamer. And before I get started, I want to tell you guys a little bit about my history with Nintendo so you understand exactly where I'm coming from, right? Before I get into that, I want to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for, just showing the channel support. It means the world to me. And if you're new, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you stay up to date whenever I drop videos. My Nintendo history real quick, I'll break it down in 30 seconds. My last Nintendo console that I owned besides the Switch was the N64. Right when the N64 and the GameCube came about, I was already becoming a teenager. I wanted more mature games. Nintendo couldn't offer that for me, so I left the platform. I went to PlayStation, right? Vice City was a game that made me want to make that switch. I did have a Nintendo Advance that I bought and sold as a teenager too many times. And then the next console that I had from Nintendo was the Nintendo Switch. Now that was my son's console. I got him for Christmas. I played a couple hours on that just to kind of check it out. Not a huge fan. The power wasn't what I wanted it to be. I'm mainly a PlayStation gamer, play PS5, Series X, PS5 Pro. So that power difference between those consoles and the Switch was too big of a difference. And on top of that, I like my games more mature, of course. Not that I'm against platform games, because obviously I'm playing Donkey Kong Bananza and it's a fun time. But my majority of the games that I'm playing are rated T, rated M, more mature type of games. Now, I bought a Switch myself. I bought and sold it a few times, and it wasn't until the Switch OLED that I actually kept it. And I say I have maybe a total of 30, 40 hours total gameplay time on that console, so not very much. So now that you understand my history with Nintendo, when I talk about Donkey Kong Bonanza and is it worth it to me, do I think it's worth it to your average Nintendo gamer? Is it worth $70? Hopefully those answers will make sense. Before I let you know if it's worth $70, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experience with Donkey Kong Bonanza. I have about 8 to 10 hours in it so far. I am in day 3, 4, this Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, day 3 of playing this game, or owning the game. First day, I played a couple hours. Second day, about an hour, hour and a half. Then I turned it off. Then I played another 3, 4 hours. And now I'm playing it again. So about 8, 10 hours of gameplay. My early impressions of the game is, wow, this game is much bigger than I thought it would be. Wow, the visuals are way better than I thought it would be. And the gameplay is way more fun than I thought it would be. The game is a blast, right? It's taking me back to those childhood games. Well, it's taking me back to those games as a child that I thought were incredible. When I look back at some of those games now, I'm like, wow, nostalgia is a hell of a drug, right? But Donkey Kong Bonanza is doing something a little bit different. I don't recall a time where I played a 3D Donkey Kong in a semi-open world. So that's what this game is. As you can tell right here, I'm in one of these hub worlds, right? And each hub world has got so much stuff that you can do, right? There's so many collectibles, there's so many bananas you can collect. So gameplay time, I can definitely see this game taking 30, 40, 50 hours to finish. If you're going for a completionist, I can see that time being extended to freaking 60, 70, 80, even 100 hours. So to answer the question right away, is it worth $70? Yes, right? I had this assumption that Nintendo games were basic platformer games that you can get done in 8, 10, 15 hours, maybe 20 hours, right? And I am not ignorant. I know there's games like Breath of the Wild that exist, but those games are few and far in between, right? We mostly know of the Mario games, the Pokemon games, or at least I did. And I think the casual gamer knows of those games as well. And when they think about those games, they think about just your basic flat platformers. Now, I have played games like Mario Wonder, Mario Odyssey, things like that. And those games are very high quality. But the hardware always held those games back, in my opinion. Now, the OLED did a great job at emphasizing the visuals of these games because the OLED screen is so bright, so colorful, which added a good layer to these games. So Donkey Kong Bonanza takes that to a whole other level, in my opinion. Right away, when you start the game in the beginning, you see Donkey Kong, as you can see him in the screen here. The fur is very detailed. Donkey is very detailed. The movement is very fluid. The movement is very fun. The game feels very, very punchy. I have been playing this game on a DualSense Pro. And you'll see here later in the video, maybe, that I have the freaking battery's about to die signal that's popping up because I've been playing the heck out of this game. Um, I'm gonna talk about the things that I like about it first, and then I'm gonna talk about some of the negatives, right? So some of the things that I like first is I do like the semi-open world kind of format the game has. I love the combat or the gameplay. The gameplay feels very, very fun. The visuals are also really, really nice. I like the fact that you have Pauline in here. Pauline is an awesome hype man. I mean, she is constantly saying, "Hey, banana here, great job, attack them, you're almost done," things of that nature, which kind of goes in the trope of that sidekick that kind of helps you out, but not to that level. I would say she's more of a hype man than anything else. She is useful in the game. There's a thing that you can do where you hit the what's this button? The L button, and Pauline will start singing. And when she starts singing, it does a couple different things. One, it shows you the direction of where to go next. Kind of like if you play Ghost of Tsushima, the wind, when you swipe up on the center pad, and then the wind blows, showing you the direction you got to go. That's kind of how Pauline does it, but instead it has musical notes coming out. The other power that Pauline has is you use that singing in order to open up the sections that are sealed off in purple. You push the L1, she starts singing, it weakens the metal, and then you can punch through. The other thing about Pauline is that is the co-op character. So if you decide to play couch co-op, that is a character that your partner will play with. Now this is a huge, huge negative to me in the Donkey Kong Bonanza game because it does all those things with Pauline, as I mentioned, and it adds another thing that you can do. So in Donkey Kong, you can literally pick up boulders from the ground and throw them. Whatever material you're using, like right here, you have this like sandy rock, right? Pauline does like a scan of the material and it shoots that type of material as well. I forget the button. I think it's the R or the R button. Yeah, the R bumper button. And you'll constantly shoot that, which comes in handy because right there, that door that I broke too, where I evolve into this big Donkey Kong dude, it takes certain materials to open different things. So getting Pauline to switch the materials of the items she can throw really comes in handy. But that's the extent of it. She's always on your shoulder, so the person you're playing with, that's all they can do. And it's also only in the direction that you're looking at. She cannot turn around, handle enemies behind you, to the side of you. No, only in front of you. So a lot of cool things. There's a lot of collectibles. There's a lot of things you can do. Now, when I first started playing the game, I was in the first level for about an hour. And the first level is literally like a room, right? You're inside of a cave. And they're teaching you basically how everything is destructible and that these big bananas are the things that you're supposed to collect. And I spent an hour just excavating that whole room because the punching and destroying rocks is so addicting in this game that it's very easy. Like right here, as you can see, there's holes everywhere. I'm just punching through shit, looking for stuff. That is super, super fun and super, super addicting. So if somebody's in this level looking for collectibles, you could be here for hours, hours and hours and hours. Now, there's these little gold nuggets. I don't know exactly what they are. I think they are gold nuggets. That is currency in the game. You can use that currency to purchase outfits for Donkey Kong that have buffs. You can also, I'm sorry, I'll take that back. You can buy potions. That's what we consider potions for Donkey Kong. Like balloons, for example. Balloons is if you fall off the map, the balloon will pull you back up, right? Apple juice. Apple juice will refill one of your lives. So those are the things that you can do with these gold nuggets. That leaf that I just found there in the screen, those are another form of currency, and those you use to buy outfits for Donkey Kongs that have buffs. For example, one buff is a tie, and the tie will give your clapping power 60% more power. And the clapping power, what that does is, if you have a whole bunch of gold nuggets around you, you clap and it absorbs everything in. And the clap also is used as a radar, like a bat, right? A bat sends out, or I'm sorry, a dolphin. A dolphin will send out a noise, a squeal, a whistle. It bounces off the rocks and it lets the dolphins know how far of a distance they have to go, right? This does something similar, but it scans the ground looking for collectibles. Um, some of my complaints about the game is the camera is pretty crappy. Even though I am playing on my TV, the camera kind of feels like I'm playing on handheld mode. It feels restrictive, especially when you're going underground and creating holes and just going away from the path that is not recommended, but kind of like the known path. And it gets a little annoying sometimes. The co-op portion of this game is also very, very trash. Me and my son played for about 30 minutes. After that, he's like, Dad, I'm not doing this. This sucks. And I don't blame him at all, right? Another negative that I have about the game is the frame drops, the performance. Now, I would say the game performs well 80%, 85% of the time. But frame drops happen way too consistent, man. Like, if there's too much particles, these gold nuggets flying around, you're going to see those frame drops. If there's too many enemies, you're going to see the frame drops. And I think another negative of mine is that there isn't enough enemies. Not enemy types, but just enemies in general. Now, these enemies that I've been fighting, this level is one of the levels that has the most amount of enemies that I've seen in any other level. And this is the third level of the game, or fourth, something like that. So the amount of enemies is lacking. So far, the different types of enemies have been pretty decent, but just fighting in the game, the combat of the game, it's very few and far in between. But the frame drops really, really come through around these instances, and it can get really bad. And that's the one thing that, well, the biggest thing I disagree with the IGN article, the biggest reason why I think this game is not a 10 out of 10 is because performance-wise, it's not up to par. It really isn't. I mean, the Switch is a powerful console, and even that can't handle this. So it just it it really takes you out of the moment for a few seconds at a time. And then when you're on a roll, when you're really, going combat after combat, and you have all these nuggets that you're trying to collect, and you have nothing but frame drops happening every, 5-10 seconds, it's very jittery. It's very like, it takes you out of it. It's a pain in the butt. And right here, you can tell there's a lot of frame drops going on. The game's running probably like at 30 frames per second, right? Maybe less than that. But when outside of that, when you're just playing the game normally, it's running at a solid 60, and it's super smooth, and the quality is really good, and you're having a blast. But performance is a big problem with this game. Now, I'm playing the game mainly docked, so on the TV, and that's where you see a lot of the frame drops. When you're playing in handheld mode, it doesn't happen as frequently, but it still does happen. Just not as much as on TV mode. But yeah, the game, you can upgrade your outfits, you can get these potions and stuff like that, so that's pretty cool. I really like the semi-open world, which is nice. The story, it's a super basic story. I mean, it's enough to keep the game moving forward, but this game is all gameplay and visuals. All gameplay and visuals. And for some people, that's enough. For me, it's not. That's why I can't play this game longer than a couple hours at a time, because I get tired of it, right? I get tired of doing the same thing over and over again. Now, I will say that you can upgrade, there's a skill, what do you call that? A skill screen where you can upgrade your skills. And there's a decent amount, but I feel like once I have Donkey Kong maxed out with skills, it's going to become a little bit redundant, a little bit more, I don't know what's the word, a little bit more boring, I guess. But we'll see. I haven't got to that point yet. Is it game of the year? So far, based on what I've played, no, it is not. Now, I will give Nintendo props for giving Pauline a voice. There's she says things. I don't really know many Nintendo games that does have voice acting, so shout out to Nintendo for that. It adds another layer to the characters, which is cool. But the game just has too many frame drop issues, and also the story is really, really lacking. And I just don't think that a game of this caliber is worth it for Game of the Year. Now, some people will say, "Well, I mean, it's a Nintendo game. The what it does well," and I do agree. But at the same time, Game of the Year, you're competing against games like Death Stranding 2, Expedition 33, maybe Monster Hunter Wilds, and here are the upgrades, right? As you can see, I'm about halfway with them. Well, I have about half of the skills that are visible. But yeah, I mean, I just don't think in comparison going against these other games, it's just not enough, right? But once again, I'm only 10 hours in, so who knows what's going to happen after that and how much of the game opens up, but we'll see. But yeah, this is an awesome game. Is it worth $70? Yeah, I definitely agree it's worth 70. The visuals, the gameplay, I mean, they do a really, really good job. They added the layer with the voice acting, like I mentioned before, and it's a fun time. It's a very fun time. I'm still learning about the game. I'm still getting used to the Nintendo controls because I don't really, play too much with it, but I'm having a really good time. I'm excited to continue playing the game, but once again, I can only play this game in bite-sized pieces, right? A couple hours at a time, maybe once a day, maybe twice a day. But this is definitely a game that will be in my Switch and will stay in my Switch till I complete it. And this may be the first Nintendo game that I complete in decades. So we will see. But if you have any questions, put them in the comment section. I'll answer them as best I can. But just a quick recap: is this game a 10 out of 10? No. So far, I give it an 8 out of 10, and an 8 only because the gameplay is so strong. The visuals are so strong. But those frame drops, man, those are really, really bad. And people that are excusing it just because they're having a great time with the game is very, very unfortunate. Because just because the gameplay is good doesn't mean that we can forgive everything else. We can give it more benefit of the doubt and we can rank it up higher to overcome those downfalls of the game. But performance is part of the game. Controls are part of the game. What's the point of having a game that's beautiful, runs well, does everything well, but the controls suck? It takes you. That's part of the engagement of the game, right? Same thing. What's the point of the game if it plays really, really good, but yet the visuals are really crappy and you can't really see and the camera sucks? Like, it just takes away from that. And the frame drops take away from Donkey Kong Bananza. It really does. The lack of enemies take away from Donkey Kong Bananza. The camera at times takes away from Donkey Kong Bananza. And these are just facts. But if you know my Nintendo history, you know that I am being as honest and as open I can with this game. Yes, I have my issues with Nintendo, but I also have my issues with PlayStation. I also have my issues with Xbox. I'm not going to bring those issues into the game itself because to me, those are separate things. But there y'all have it, man. I didn't plan for this video to be 18, 20 minutes long, but as soon as I got talking about it, I want to share with you guys everything that I can relate without spoiling anything. And yeah, the game is awesome. Go pick it up, especially if you own a Switch 2, man. There isn't many Switch 2 first party games from Nintendo, right? We got Mario Kart and Donkey Kong. This is their first true exclusive, or not exclusive, but their first true first party game that it's not Mario Kart, and it's definitely worth playing. You're going to get a ton of hours of gameplay out of this. But there y'all have it, man. Hit the comment section down below. Let me know what you think. Have you been enjoying Donkey Kong Bananza? Is it a game you're looking forward to? Have you been on the fence? Let me know. I'm super interested to see where you guys are at with it. But that's all I got to say for now. Maybe when I'm done with the game, I'll do a review, a complete review. Who knows? But yeah. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We'll catch you in the next one. Keep it gaming.